Hi everybody, Carol here. These are the impossible cards I've made lately, and today I'm going to make another one. This is an impossible card about galoshes and raindrops, and I'm using this stamp set here from Designs by Ren. This is called Water Droplets. It's letter CM-T3. So I'm inking it up with VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to stamp that whole little sheet of paper. It's a 5x7. I make my cards 5x7 landscape, so I'm putting the raindrops facing that direction. So if you were to do that, you would need to keep that in mind. Now, after I've stamped the raindrops, I'm going to run it through this embossing folder. It's We Are Memory Keepers Next Level, and it's called Geometric, one of them, and there are two, and this you can tell which one I'm using here. And it has a little different combination there. The platform there to be folded all the way, and only one plate. Now I had to use a couple of sheets of cardstock, but this is thin cardstock, so you might have to experiment a little bit to get the right impression. But this is what it looks like. You can't tell too well like this, but I'm going to start putting some ink on it. I'm using 4 different shades of blue, starting with dark navy and then getting lighter. One blue even has a kind of a green cast to it. But I will tell you from experience, it helps to just tap that makeup sponge onto that design, because the embossing is hills and valleys, and you don't, if you just mash it and stroke it all the way with a heavy hand, you will obliterate the design and the ups and downs and the cracks and crevices and all of that in the design. So you just kind of tap it on top and hit the top of the design, and it will show through, and it's just fun to watch. I'm going around the corners of the paper, also on the edges, and then blending, going back and forth, blending the blues together. I'm keeping the light blue right down the center, and it depends on how stormy of a day you want it to be, how dark you want the colors to be, but they really make that design pop, and I just think it is such a good look. So I keep going back and doing more and more until you could just keep on and on and on, depending on what look you want. But I'll do a close-up in a little while, and you can see. Now the raindrops, at some point I will go back with the white jelly roll pen and put little dots. The dots are already there on the tops of the raindrops, but fill in that dot with the white jelly roll pen, and it really makes the raindrops look real. And so there you go. There is a look, and you can pick out kind of the different colors. There's another one I did with different colors, and it has the white drops, the white ink on it, on the raindrops. This one does not. This one does, and you can see the difference it makes. That is just an old card that I made that I'm just showing you. This was an extra piece of paper that I played with one day with different colors just to see what it would look like. So there is a lot you can do with this stamp set and play around and make yourself a pretty piece of art. She has other really nice stamps too, bubbles and things like that, so you might want to look at her website. But so see how you can see the design, the ups and downs, and now is the part where we're actually going to make the card, the impossible card. Mine is 5x7. I drew some and cut out some little templates of a 2.5 by 3.5, which is a half of that size, and then some little tabs at the top that are 1 3/4. You can make them what size you want them to, and then everything gets drawn down to the middle line, which is 2.5 from a 5-inch by 7-inch card. And so then I'll turn it and I will score between those two tab lines, and it makes it easier to fold. You line up the edges of the paper when you fold, and use your bone folder or a wooden bone folder, as I have there, a wooden folder, and then do the same thing with the other side. Fold it forward and crease it, and it's a little tricky with this textured surface with these ups and downs of the embossing, but you can do it, and so it helps. Now I'm going to take a little break here and do some artwork, and we'll come back and finish the card. This is a stamp set called And Everything Nice. This is just one of the stamps, but what I want is the puddle. So I've slid a sheet of paper, cardstock under there, I don't know if you can tell, and traced around that puddle since it was already cut out. And now I'm just coloring with some different colors of blues, just very quickly, going back around with the Millennium pen and redoing that outline and redoing the little lines on the water. And I'll cut it out and set it aside. Now I'm going to use the Galoshes stamp set from Stampendous. It's called Puddle Boots, and I was experimenting with these picture frames. You may have some of these around your house, and they're in different sizes. I chose this size. It was hard to ink it up at its angle, so I put it on that book so it would have something to hang off of. And I used my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, coloring with some Prismacolors. Just do a little bit of this. Not that much fun to watch me color, so I'm speeding through it, but I use all different colors, as you will see, and then go back and cut it out. I will use 2 of these boots, but not the third one, or I should say sets of boots, I guess, galoshes. Now here is kind of what could be the tricky part, and I'm sorry, I hope it's not confusing. I'll try to explain it. But I'm actually going back, hold your breath, I'm actually going back and cutting off that right-hand side. I'll put it on the contrasting paper there so you can see. I decided to glue that down onto another 5x7 sheet of white cardstock, and I'll cut it the same dimensions so that I can fold it and twist it and turn it, and it can be an interactive card. I like to turn this into an interactive card where you can flip it forwards and backwards. So I have to go back and cut the white paper with the same slits, the 2 tabs and the slit down the middle on the bottom, and I'll have to fold it also to get it all together, get it to all fold together. But you can see what happens when you do the impossible card. You flip that part back. I would lose my design with the embossing folder and the raindrops. They would be now face down, probably sitting on a table. And I didn't want to lose that, and I didn't necessarily want to try to make it again. So, not try to, but try to match it up, make it where it would match up. So I just went ahead and cut that off. Now I'm turning it from kind of an L shape to a T shape, but it doesn't fit that way. So I had to cut this apart, if you understand what I'm saying, and I used measurements to be sure I cut it accurately. Now you see what would normally be the bottom right is now going to the top right because it flipped, and the tab is now down at the bottom because it has flipped. But it wouldn't have fit the other direction. See, it wouldn't have fit that way, so I had to cut it apart. Now I did stamp another little piece of the same colored cardstock with just the raindrops, no background color, no embossing, and I'm measuring. I'm going to cut it apart. It was the T shape, half of a T, and I'm putting it down now to be the L shape, backwards L. And I'm cutting it apart, and you'll see I even went back over this with some white ink and a sponge just to lighten it so there would be more contrast when we do the interactive flip. See the difference in the color, and it's just much more muted and drab, but I wanted something besides just that stark white cardstock. This goes with the theme, but you can definitely tell it's different. And when I put it down, I realized I'm missing a little bit of cardstock for some reason down on that bottom right. So I go back and fix that with another little strip of stamped cardstock. But I'll glue that on. I will glue this on with my Tombow Mono Multi Glue, And now the majority of the time, this will be open to this position and it will show and it will all go together. When you want to pick it up and flip it and make it interactive, then you will be able to see that there is a difference. Also, before I glued it down, I went back with my navy ink and just went around the edges of the paper, so that it would, if there was any white showing, I actually just didn't want any white showing. And this would all look like one solid piece of paper, and there would be navy showing. So there you go with the flip, and you can see the contrasting, not a lot. And so now I'm going to add my pieces that I colored and cut out. My little puddle will go under there. I'm keeping the that part of the design to a minimum. There are the yellow galoshes, because I really want to emphasize the background. I think it is as much of the artwork as the actual galoshes. That stamp set again is And Everything Nice. I wanted you to see that, the little rain girl with the umbrella, and also this puddle with the duck. So I stamped it, cutting out the duck and the puddle, colored it. But I wanted you to see what is to me the incredible difference of what this paper, this cardstock, started out as. On the left-hand side, just a rather plain drab blue-gray sheet of cardstock, and the transformation, they don't even look the same. And just from embossing folders and stamping and coloring, but what you can do, and I want to encourage you to play with this. It is so fun and such a dramatic difference. So, and I also didn't say that little sentiment down there, thinking of you. I put that on the side. Now, this is totally unnecessary, but I thought, I just kind of want to finish this off. And the white just didn't seem to look all that good to me, so I just cut another little angle there of the black cardstock and glued it on. And I decided I needed a water puddle under those galoshes, so I cut out another one and put another piece of white cardstock. That wasn't necessary either, but it really tidies it up. It gives it a lot more strength. And this is a pretty heavy little impossible card. It's got a lot of body to it, and I like that. So there again is the thinking of you sign over white on a black card strip. And I hope you enjoyed this. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really like it. It's a little bit different. Now I'm going to very quickly do a little brush lettering of a poem, a short poem about galoshes and rain puddles. I hope you enjoy. I'll put on some music. If you like the brush lettering, I have many brush letterings of famous quotes from anywhere from Thomas Edison to Benjamin Franklin to Ogden Nash to Winston Churchill, Helen Keller. There are so many. I hope you'll go look at them and be inspired and lifted up by them. So thanks for joining me. Hope to see you soon, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye for now.